Study Section 2, Semantics and Pragmatics, Convergence and Divergence. Introduction. Semantics, as said in Unit 1, is a study of meaning. In this unit, we shall introduce the term pragmatics, which is also a study of meaning. If the two study meaning, how can we tell one from the other? This is the focus of the present unit. Objectives: to define the term pragmatics, to point out the similarities and differences between the terms semantics and pragmatics. Contents: what is pragmatics? There have been many definitions of the term pragmatics offered by scholars such as Morris, 1938, Levinson, 1983, Leach, 1983, Adegbija, 1982-1998, Thomas, 1995, Yule, 1995, etc. Levinson, 1983-5, trying out several definitions in search of an acceptable description of pragmatics, says, pragmatics is a study of language usage. He also defines it as a study of those principles that will account for why a certain set of sentences are anomalous or not possible utterances. Levinson, 1983-5, according to Odebumi, 2003-42. This definition forces us to ask if pragmatics is a concept of grammar or meaning. The Encyclopedia of Language and Languages, 1990-310, defines pragmatics as the study of language from the point of view of the users, especially of the choices they encounter in using language in social interaction and the effect their use of language has on their participants. The definition identifies as elements of pragmatics the language user, the context and the hearer. Odebumi, 2003-42. Barton, 1996, provides the following definition. Pragmatics is the meaning that consists of interpretation within context. Leach, 1983-6, defines the term for the purpose of linguistics as a study of meaning in relation to situations. In the words of Thomas, 1995-22, pragmatics is meaning in interaction. Yule, 1996-3, spells out the specific coverage of this definition by a series of definitions. 1. Pragmatics is a study of speaker meaning. 2. Pragmatics is a study of contextual meaning. 3. Pragmatics is a study of how more gets communicated than is said. 4. Pragmatics is a study of the expression of relative distance. All of the above definitions were finally harmonized by Adegbija, 1999-189. We adopt that definition in this book because of its representativeness. Pragmatics is the study of language used in particular communicative contexts or situations. This would take cognizance of the message being communicated or the speech act being performed, the participants involved, their intention, knowledge of the word, and the impact this would have on their interaction, what they have taken for granted as part of the context, or the presupposition and the deduction they make on the basis of what is said or left unsaid, the impact of the non-verbal aspects of interaction on meaning. From the above definition, pragmatics can be said to involve language used in particular contexts. This takes into consideration the message being communicated, the speech act performed, the individuals who communicate ideas or perform the speech act. 4. Particular intentions being passed across, which springs from the knowledge that these individuals share. 5. The effect of the speech art or the expression of intention on other interactants or individuals in communication. 5. The assumption that participants or interactants make. 6. Their displays understanding of the ideas or speech art expressed. 7. The effect and value associated with the non-verbal arts. In 8 above points to the fact that pragmatic meaning to emerge from the utterances or sentences made or constructed in communication. Several factors have to be considered, among which are the message, the people involved in interaction, and the different levels at which contextual variables constrain what they communicate. This means that pragmatics, to a very large extent, deals in meaning that is ad hoc, i.e., meaning that is not permanent. It is in this sense that semantics is said to deal with sentence or conventional meaning, while pragmatics deals with utterance or strictly contextual meaning. The point is that pragmatic meaning does not necessarily come within the convention of regular language usage. Let us look at the example below. I also want my bread now. Bread here hardly has any pragmatic association, except we consider the foregrounding effect that the inverted commas and italics are potential to exert. The possible pragmatic meaning cannot emerge until the context is provided in terms of where the statement is uttered. Who utters it? The intent behind uttering it, the effect intended by its utterance, and the possible assumptions shared by participants. One possible pragmatic meaning of bread in example 1 is money. If the word has been a code between participants to refer to money, this means that the meaning here is not conventional, but contextual, and holds if and only if participants will appropriate share, assumptions come together in interaction. It should be noted that other pragmatic meaning of bread, such as share or sex turn, in the context of rape, for example, are possible depending on what the context determines. Note that while the semantics or conventional meaning of bread as food is completely ruled out, with the double foregrounding of the word, each of the interpretations essentially depends on this food concept. This establishes the point that in large measure, connotations emerge from denotations. Thomas, 1995, rightly observes that difference is not a pragmatic affair until it has been impinged upon by context. For example, if someone who is a professor is addressed as professor in any context, no pragmatic implication occurs. A pragmatic meaning comes in when, instead of him or her being addressed as a professor, he or she is deliberately addressed as Mr. or Mrs., especially by someone who is aware of his or her designation. To achieve a particular effect, for example, insulting, denigrating, or embarrassing. A good example of this can be found in Chinua Achebe's Anti-Use of the Savannah, when Sam, His Excellency, addresses Professor Okon as Mr. Okon to express his disappointment with the professor's ingratiating tendencies and incompetence. CF Odebumi, 2008. Exercise 1. Provide a possible pragmatic interpretation of each of the following sentences. 1. Let mother tell my mother that I am his daughter, though a man. 2. This is not the head for my department. 3. This something is something only for the woman. 4. Your father is not your father here. 5. I am a new person everywhere. 6. Your long stick is troubled. 7. Let us know if this place is a L in the final analysis. 8. Olamiposi ate the tummy each time. 9. Ayotomiwa drove the telephone around. 10. The baby, Gloria, now gave the doctor a check. Between semantics and pragmatics. The fact that semantics and pragmatics account for meaning naturally makes it difficult to differentiate between them. Yet, some rewarding attempts have been made in the literature to tell them from each other. One major distinction that has been drawn between semantics and pragmatics is expressed in the interrogatives. What does X means? Used with respect to semantics. And what do you mean by X? Used with respect to pragmatics. C. Leach, 1983. Thomas, 1995. Odebumi, 2006. This means that semantics deals in objective accounts of meaning, i.e., it explains meaning in terms of how it is documented in the dictionary and how it is found to be used. Pragmatic, on the other hand, goes beyond the objective accounts to provide the particular meaning intended by users in specific contexts. Another distinction between the two fields occurs with respect to semantics dealing in meaning that is conventionalized, i.e., more or less stable meaning, while pragmatics ventures into meaning that is negotiated between the hearer and the speaker in particular language situations. Let us look at this example. The man is a girl. The principles of semantics may not be able to account for this statement because of its anomaly. If we use the method of componential analysis, more on this later, which is a semantics procedure, we shall come up with this result. Man is equal to plus male plus adult. Girl is equal to plus male minus adult. This schema already shows a contradiction, as a man, in bracket, who is male, cannot be a girl, in bracket, who is female. This is compounded by the age difference, which does not make the two to match. Within the conventionalized knowledge of meaning, therefore, the statement is meaningless. But in a pragmatic enterprise, a high degree of meaningfulness is possible. All that is needed is a consideration for the contextual influence. Who made the statement? Where was it made? Why was it made? What backgrounded it? What was the standard of the society about the man or the girl? What aspects of the man were being spoken about? etc. In the long run, a pragmatic analysis would offer a meaning such as an adult male person X who possesses the attributes of a young female person, or who behaves in a way typical to the way expected of a young female person X, as defined by society Y. Context is now further needed to complete the gap. Is this attribute or quality or behavior, inexperience, indolence, weakness, shyness, etc. The differences between semantics and pragmatics are tabulated below. Semantics. 1. What does X mean? Language-based. Pragmatics. What did you mean by X? User-based. 2. Conventional meaning. Pragmatics. 2. Context-determined meaning. 3. Semantics. Deals with words and sentences. Pragmatics. 3. deals with words and sentences as used in particular contexts, i.e., utterances. Finalizing this section, it should be noted that while several points of divergence have been identified between semantics and pragmatics, this should not be stretched too far. Taking the two fields apart or collapsing them is highly dependent on how each is perceived. Leach, 1983, for example, identifies and discusses three approaches to meaning, namely semanticism, pragmatism, and complementarism. Semanticism presents semantics as the broad term under which pragmatics is located. This order is reversed in pragmatism, i.e., pragmatics is the broad term under which semantics is located. In complementarism, the two are interrelated entities which perform complementary roles. Odebumi 2006-1, if you subscribe to semanticism, pragmatics becomes a subset of semantics and vice versa. But if you favor complementarism, the two are not separated. Rather, their distinct features are recognized and explored as partners in the meaning explication process. This approach has been largely subscribed in the literature. Filmon, Langaska, and Lakoff, for example, see the distinction between semantics and pragmatics as a needless venture. Cf. Odebumi 2006, Goddard 1998-16 expresses the opinion that no matter how much effort is put into separating the two fields, they necessarily converge if we are to achieve a satisfying theory of linguistic communication. According to Odebumi 2006, 1-2, it is difficult to pass a judgment on the debate over the two fields. Semantics and pragmatics have areas of convergence and areas of divergence. The overarching fact is that the goal of the two is accounting for meaning. Exercise 2. Read the extract below carefully and then A. Do a pragmatic analysis of at least 5 sentences or expressions from the extract. B. Differentiate between semantics and pragmatics, citing examples from the text. Extract. You were telling me about the white girl and your big friend, she said abruptly, switching on the bed lamp I had just turned off and holding back my hand, reaching again for the rope switch. Before I could answer, she said, "Why did you call her a miracle worker?" I had said I would go at BB's pace, but I'd be damned if I would spend the rest of the night talking about Sam and Dwayne, who had already come up for mention at lunch with Ikem and his new girl, Joy. So I went straight to the point. In the morning, after a very exhausting night, this girl, Joanne, wakes him up and wants to begin again. I remember how Sam put it, "My brother, there was absolutely nothing left in the pipeline." So Joanne swings herself around and picks up his lame waiting call with her mouth. And from nowhere, and like magic, life surged back into it. Sam had never seen that kind of thing before. BB didn't respond immediately, except to get a little closer to me. Then she asked, "You mean people actually do that?" "All the time." "Disgusting," she said. "Well, I don't know. You sound as if you wouldn't mind yourself, or perhaps you have done it already." "No, I haven't. It's the girl who does it." "All right, Mr. Smart. Has any girl done it for you? Let's not make it personal." "Okay, I won't pry anymore, but I think it's disgusting, don't you? And they didn't even shower first, did they?" I wasn't there, but I don't suppose they did. She woke him up as I understand it and went straight to work. With all the stuffs on it, dry and caked, yes. Disgusting. I won't do that, not for anybody. Don't worry, love. I won't ever ask you. What? I say. But isn't that the whole point? Na Beatrice, you dey ask. Na me dey tell the tori, no be you. Well, that's the whole point. I am told to give eye to her right in the month. You are joking. I swear. Chris, are you sure you haven't done it? No, it's the girl who does it. Oh, shut up. You know what I mean? And don't you start anything because I won't wash it in my mouth. We shall first. You are joking. Oh, Christ, please. Summary. In this unit, we have discussed and considered several definitions of pragmatics and have narrowed the concept down to strictly context-constrained accounts of meaning. We have observed that semantics and pragmatics differ on the ground that one considers conventionalized meaning, while the other operates with use-determined meanings. End of study section 2. Thanks for listening.